Chat, we have joined Jess today. Welcome in. It's good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
It would help if I unmuted you. I did the same thing to Anxiety. Speak now, Jess. The people can hear you.
It's great to be able to be heard and to see everyone.
Yes.
Perfect kickoff to a Saturday morning.
Also, goodness, Chan, if you didn't get the memo, light blue is today's color. Okay, this is not planned.
Oh, wow. Check that out. You're wearing the same color.
Look at us, Chan. So if you're not wearing light blue, what are you doing with your Saturday? Okay, so wear some light blue. Jerry, thank you. You can go follow her on twitch.tv/JoinJess. Jess is a soon-to-be judge that will be making sure that precedent is upheld in the realm at all times. Of course, I speak. Jess, you are a law student. For those of you that don't know her, have seen her on the podcast before, and you can go follow her on Twitch for all the awesome stuff. Jess, I know we talked last night. I was talking to Jess. We were playing some Rainbow Six last night. And I was being a sufficient potato. Oh, we're gonna have to edit that out, chat. Damn it, my alerts are still on. So, where's the snow? Yeah. Seriously, we'll have to talk about that later. You know what I'm saying? So, Jess, let's have me stop talking. I know that last time we introduced you to the community, and we talked about you and what you do. But it's been some time since your first podcast. She was one of the early adopters of the Sanctum Sessions podcast. She came on. Oh gosh, was that like a year and a half ago?
That's what I was thinking. I'm trying to think back. Was it a year and a half? I'm like, wow. Time has flown, Laura.
Now I'm sitting here like, I'm in a different state. I was in Colorado when I first talked to you, and now I'm in East Coast. So I've moved. I've gotten probably 2 new jobs since then because, life is fun. And and you're, and you have an internship coming up. Is that right? You got something coming up Monday?
I start on Monday. I'm actually interning for an attorney general, so it's a really prestigious opportunity. I'm very fortunate that I was offered the position. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I think I have to find out as I go. I'm hoping they're going to teach us. I was sent an email yesterday that gave me the whole rundown. Apparently I'm going to be watching a lot of videos. So at least I know that I can watch a video.
Yes.
If I don't manage anything else during the internship, at least my first day I'm going to start out strong because I've got that skill set.
That's good that at least there's some training going in. My now job, so I have a lot more experience than some of the people on the team in terms of work experience. And so when I came in, they were like, "Oh yeah, so here's the 3 platforms. Just go." I went, "Sure, I'm going to have to shadow somebody because I don't know how you do things just because I've used Facebook Ads Manager and Google Analytics and all that stuff. How do you use these things?" And they were like, "Oh, we thought you could just jump in." I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to have to shadow somebody." So it's good that you at least are getting some kind of instructional things there. You're going to do fine. You're going to do just fine.
I'm just not professional like Laura who can just jump into things, right, Laura?
Oh, please. Continue. I could use a little ego boost this morning. All right, come on. So.
Well, I'm just saying, just like Siege, you jumped right in, you kicked some butt. Clearly the job understands you can just roll right in and make magic happen. That's what they just expected because they knew you could. Yeah.
I only got 1 or 2 kills though, but they were good. They were good kills. I haven't played Siege in weeks because, Jess, I'm not sure if you've seen. We've been playing Minecraft recently on stream.
Oh, okay.
I got a little single player modded Minecraft thing going because I just can't handle Siege, and I'm sure you can relate. After a long day of work, I am brain is on from 8:30 when I arrive till 6 when I come home, and then I have to stream.
Yeah.
So the thought of Siege, the thought of something mentally intensive. I even started playing MTG Arena. Excuse me, and
I love that game.
It's so much fun. I love Magic, and I started playing. We could talk about that actually because you played it at TwitchCon for the first time. Is that right?
I did. Yeah.
And that was the first time you ever played Magic.
It was.
Wow. So what was your
It was awesome.
I've been playing Magic for on and off. Oh gosh, since I was younger. We'll just put it that way. So what was your first impression? You played it online for the first time?
No. So at TwitchCon, I ran into the Twitch staff. He goes by Tamzu on Twitch and on Twitter. He's super cool. And he was like, "Hey, he's the staff who kind of inspired and wanted to and really headed up getting the board game room at TwitchCon, which is so cool because literally it's a room filled with board games that you can just go and play together." Yeah. Right. So cool. TwitchCon, and they did a Magic. Yeah. This is what we're about, right?
I thought so.
Yeah. And then they did a magic tournament, I think Friday and Saturday. I don't think they did it Sunday, but I could be turned around.
Sure.
But so then I went and they were doing mini masters and I was like, I have no idea what this is. I don't know how to play the game. And I was just told, why don't you just give it a try? So I showed up first thing that morning, walked in and was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm here to do it.
Awesome.
And I was really fortunate. I got paired up with, because there were, I think, 6 of us. So everybody got the person that they were playing, and I got paired up with the sweetest lady. I just met her. She was there with her boyfriend, who was celebrating actually his birthday the next week over at BlizzCon, and they were
Oh, wow.
super excited. And it was the funniest thing. I will always remember my first game of Magic, because it's literally me sitting like here on one side of the table. And then my new friend, who goes by Bear Coda on Twitch,
Sure.
we're friends now. She comes and hangs out and says hi every now and again. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just love her. She was great. I'm sitting here, she's over there, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. And so eventually what ended up happening was we're playing and I'm like, hey, so can you explain this card to me?
Awesome.
So she's playing all of her cards and half of my game.
That's the
And
best.
she's amazing. She's got the patience, I swear, of a saint.
It's a
'Cause I'm
hard game
sitting
to
there.
like
Yeah.
explain. That's a good way to do it, though, I think. A card at a time. Because if
Yeah.
I sat down and I was like, all right, so first strike, and but then there's double strike, and then there's unblockables, and you're just gonna be like, I have no idea. But if you do it
That's
like
what
a
I was
card at a
thinking.
time, that
Yeah.
might be better. So nice. You remember what
She
kind
was
of deck
so
you played?
good. I
What color?
don't. I think it was a weird mix.
Sure.
I magically won most of the times, but I think that was more a factor of her helping me and less of me playing.
Sure. Sure. If you won a
But
bunch, it
yeah,
must have been a
no.
decent deck. So.
I don't know. I
Sort
ended
of.
up taking it and playing it with somebody else like the next day, and I got my butt handed to me.
Do
So
you?
I think it was her.
I don't know if we can. You might be able to remember some of this. A newer Magic player wouldn't have been thinking about this at the time. Do you
Mhm.
remember if it was, so there's sealed and then there's draft, and the two types? I'm not going to go into like too much, but sealed is
Uh-huh.
like you're handed a bunch of packs and you
Yes.
take one card from the pack, and then draft is like, or I might be doing it the other way. Yeah. I think I'm mixing them up. The point is, you didn't walk in with a deck. You were like given a
No.
stack of boosters,
Yep.
and then you made a
I
deck
was.
out of that. Okay, so I
Mhm.
think that's called sealed, because you
Yeah.
work with what you got. Yeah, and that's probably why you weren't able to like beat your next friend playing Magic, because sealed is like inconsistent. Everybody has
Yes.
inconsistent decks though. It's all about the
Yes.
RNG of like what you pull. So yeah.
Yeah, the way that they did it was each win they gave you another sealed booster pack, which you could then swap cards out with. So definitely, the more you won, the better you would be likely to do, because you could
Ooh,
maybe get a consistent deck.
nice. You can keep going. I
Yeah,
like that actually. You can keep on
yeah, it
going.
was cool.
That's nice.
I
Yeah.
really hope they do it at TwitchCon in San Diego and that more people know about it and get involved, because honestly, that was one of the most fun experiences. It was also like a little crazy because there kept being like people coming by. So I met
Mm,
Gabby Sparts.
oh, cute.
I met her significant other, Lewis. And I have to say, the girl I was playing with she was so patient, because every 5 minutes we're like going, hey,
Sure.
I know you. How's it going? Stand up, leave the game, say hi, come back.
Oh
And
gosh,
she
yeah.
was just really cool. But they were actually really happy because they're big fans of both Gabby and Lewis. So they were just thrilled to kind of be able to say hi to. So I introduced them, and they were so happy. They were so cute. I love them.
Awesome. Are
Yeah,
you going to this year's TwitchCon?
absolutely. I wouldn't miss it.
Okay, I'm gonna try. So we're gonna see. So this new job is a decent chunk more money, but
Oh, nice.
I'm sure you've seen the tweets. Time Thor and I, you've never met Time Thor, but he's my business partner in all this stuff. He helps with the overlays. He does the back end stuff. I'm the front face. He's the man behind the curtain, right? So,
Okay.
and we're opening not one but 2 companies while we both have day jobs, and I stream.
You?
Yeah. So we're currently talking to lawyers about how to get incorporated. He's in Colorado, I'm in Virginia, so we're having to go through like lawyers to talk. I know it's boring legalese, Chad, but if I'm going to talk legal stuff, who better? than JoinJess herself, you know. So yeah, we're talking to them about how do we get incorporated. It's an online business. Like what do we do? So a lot of my funds are going towards that right now. So I just
Oh
don't
yeah.
know if I'm going to be able to go to TwitchCon. I really want to go because, you know, I'm sure you saw some of the photos at PAX East. It was nuts. The amount of
Looked awesome.
like friends I made. You know, you were talking about you met this person that you've never really, you know, you've never seen her before, and now you're, you know,
Yeah.
getting this magic helper, and she comes by your stream. That's great. Like, and again, chat, you know, I can't shout about enough. Like that nerd Violet plays with John Bo, all the soup squad doing it. We had Dandro on the podcast last week, and it was so good. And the ability to meet these creators, right? And that was just the PAX. That's not even a Twitch focused con. This is TwitchCon. So I'm really looking forward to the possibility of going, and then maybe
I hope you can make it.
yeah, we can go grab coffee and then play Magic, Jess,
Yes,
at the board
let's
game
do it.
section.
It would be
That'll
fantastic.
be great, chat. Coffee and magic. Magical coffee, indeed. That's fantastic.
I can't think of a better way to spend some time at TwitchCon.
My gosh, yeah.
And that's one of the best things is, you know, we get to do cool things like this podcast, but how often do we get to sit down together and enjoy a game or just chat? You know what I mean?
Oh gosh, I think we played Siege together last night with Andoa. Shout outs to the man himself. Okay. But I think the last time I got to the legend. One man, you know, the whole thing. If I had to really think about it, last time you and I got to play games together was probably like months ago. Just of no fault of either person. Just you're a full-time student, you know, training to be the best judge in all the land. Okay, is that what you want to do? I keep on saying this, and then you giggle. So
it's really funny you say that, actually. So I'm a first-year law student, and the most, I guess, the way to explain this is the most common question that everybody asks you. Your classmates, your students, literally everybody that you meet because of your studying law. Anybody at a networking event, this is basically the first question that you get asked. And everyone elsewhere goes, oh, so what kind of law do you want to practice? And so I always laugh because I'm a first-year law student. I know nothing about the law. That all I know now, really and truly, is that I know nothing about the law. I'm just getting a better idea of how little I know.
You are the Jon Snow of your classmates.
Exactly.
You could say, I'm not sure if you've watched the show. It's very lewd and very crude, but Always Sunny in Philadelphia would tell you to practice bird law. Okay, so,
bird law.
Bird law. Yes. If anyone knows, just giggle to yourself. But maybe raced. Yeah. I got you, buddy. It's really dumb. So I'm not even gonna bother talking about the scene because it's really, really silly, and you might not like it. But it's just silly. So, but maybe next time someone's like, "Hey, what kind of law?" You go, bird law. You might get like 2 or 3 laughs, and then go from there.
Okay. I'll have to try that. There's actually a game that's on my list to play. It's called Aviary Attorney, and it is in fact bird law. And
look at this.
I will be practicing actual bird law. Bird law.
I saw a pigeon in the street, and I fought for his rights. Okay. His right to perch, and I'm just gonna, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's an important right, you know?
Sure. The same as loitering, I'm not sure. So yeah, first year law student, and you got this internship coming up. So you got like full course load, and then you stream. Jess,
honestly, I have no idea how I got through this past year.
Right. How do you do this thing? Like, are you just injecting Monster energy drink straight into your veins? # not sponsored. You know, it's just... How are you staying awake? How are you dealing with all the stuff?
You know, I actually don't really, I'm not really a caffeine person. It doesn't work for me. I remember my first time I actually got a liter of Mountain Dew because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Oh boy.
I'm going to stay up. And 2 full glasses in, and I was napping. And that is how I discovered that me and caffeine, it doesn't work. Me and sugar, though. So let me tell you what, granola bars, Swedish fish, gummy bears, fresh fruit. Yep. I can go all night.
That was my 24-hour stream secret. Well, we're not going to talk about the first 24-hour stream that we did, but the second one, I survived it solely by having a massive bag of candy corn and just water.
That'll do it.
So I was hydrated and hyper.
Yes, the best way.
You know, and I think I sipped on an energy drink probably later in the day, but it was one of those. It's not well known. It's called Bing. They have them in Colorado. They're very They're like the healthiest energy drink in terms
Oh,
of
I think
energy
I tried
drinks.
one of those.
They're okay. It's
Yeah.
still made me jittery, but it was not like if I drink a Monster, it's like when I come off of it, I feel like I've like got a hangover in my head. I have like a headache.
Oh,
I'm all
oh no.
groggy. Ugh, it's I don't really do Monsters unless they want to sponsor me. I'm just kidding, Chan.
All
I
I
don't
can
want to.
say is I actually have a go-go juice, so it's not caffeine based. I call it go-go juice. That's not
It's like
actually
go-go
what it
juice.
is. Yeah, but what it is it's actually it's a bunch of herbs and juices that are all the components that your body needs to run a more efficient metabolism.
Nice.
So it helps with mental clarity, it helps with your focus, it helps with your energy production.
Mm.
So it's more supporting your body than putting it in a fire hose and saying,
Yeah.
"Good luck.
Yeah.
See you on the
You're
other
gonna stay awake
side."
for 24 hours or else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess the or else happens regardless. Goodness gracious. So, but then if you don't do caffeine, obviously you're like taking care of yourself, all that stuff. How do you
I
deal
try.
with? Yeah, well, I mean, we're all trying, right? As you sip your healthy drink for those of you that are on the audio, right? So,
It is. It
how are
is
you
very
like?
healthy.
How are you finding you're able to like? What kind of systems are you doing in order? I don't know. How are you living your life in ways that you can be a law student? Because I imagine
hmm
it's as involved as I think it is, and stream. Like that's crazy. Like you're on Twitter, you're on IG. How are you doing all this stuff?
Well, I basically fell off of social media for a bit.
Step one:
But I
don't post.
yeah, just don't post. Just,
you know.
check it once a month. That's fine. Um, no, I usually wake up and the first thing I do is I start checking my email and off of my phone. And the last thing I do at night is I fall asleep with my phone still in hand,
hmm
still doing things.
That's a bad habit I have actually.
Um,
I'm trying to break that.
yeah, yeah. But I think one of the important things is when you start the morning, having a little bit of time of silence.
Mm.
Even if it's just 10 minutes. A lot of people like to meditate. Some people like to uh, pray. Some people like to do some yoga or breathing exercises. But I think having just 10 minutes of that stillness um, is crucial because it helps to focus and also create like an emotional stability that carries you through the rest of the day.
Mm.
Um,
At the start of your
reading
day.
some Absolutely, 100%. And then there are breathing techniques for if like you get super stressed out. One of my favorite ones comes from I think it's The Power of Now by Tony Robbins, I think.
Ooh.
And
Mhm.
what you do is you breathe in for 4 counts really deeply to like your belly, and then you hold it for 16 counts,
Oof.
and then you exhale through your mouth
Yeah.
also controlled for a full 8 seconds, and it really takes some concentration to count. And that's super helpful. I'll also do that if I'm like starting to get tired because for some reason I get focused and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go.
I like
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
I would imagine that I actually was at work and I know it's we all struggle with this kind of stuff. I was at work and I was really stressed on Thursday because I had all these new systems I was trying to learn
Mm.
and for my job and I had stream and I was like company stuff that Time Thor and I are trying to do and I like in that moment I literally was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to ping JoinJess, like all this like little things were piling up and
Yeah.
I was at work and I don't know if it definitely wasn't a panic attack because I've had those before, but I was definitely like super
Yeah.
stressed and I was like sweating and I was like, Laura, just breathe, relax. You're at your desk, you're not in trouble. like,
Yeah.
so it was all in my head, and just did some like, and that's I'm gonna try that next time. I just did some like deep
Yeah.
breathing and calm me right down. It doesn't really happen a
Mhm.
lot to me, but when it does, I'm like, you're literally sitting in an air conditioned room with a granola bar in front of you. Chill out, okay? So your life ain't
And
that
in
bad.
that condition, you could chill.
I literally could, So do you do that like not every morning, but I'm sure like some mornings you just start and you just like after you check your email,
hmm
get some
As long as
breathing
I didn't
exercises.
oversleep, which does happen,
Hmm.
then that is really important. I also think it's something that helps me a lot is kind of taking a minute and thinking about what is the most important, most powerful 3 to 4 things that I need to do that day.
Ooh, that's
And
very
instead
powerful, by
of,
the way.
yeah, right. When it's different than what a lot of us ask ourselves, which is what do I need to do today? And if we
Mm.
do that, that's going to be things like the first thing I'm going to think of is I need to do laundry. I need to pick up this thing. I need to do that thing. I need to talk to this person. I need to go to work. I need to study this. I need to read 50 pages of that. I need to email my professor.
Oh
And
gosh,
the list goes
stress
on
just
and on.
thinking about it.
Right? And what does that do for me is I'm right out the gate, I'm stressing, I'm in a position where I'm gonna try and rush through things. I'm not gonna do them as well. But what happens when and sometimes I notice like it's the really small things that pop up first instead of the oh yeah, I have a project due next week and I really need to start doing at least some initial looking and thinking about that. Even if I just did 5 minutes, sometimes that's enough that the next day I can actually start working and I already have just by getting my brain turning on it.
Right, right.
Um, so when I shift to what are the most powerful 3 to 4 things that I need to do or that I should do today to get to where I want to be? That's a very different question. I'm not going to immediately go, I need to do laundry unless I really need to do
I got like
laundry.
6 projects, but and I've done this sometimes where I'm like, I got like 6 things I got to do. My
Hmm.
bed isn't made, and I haven't folded my clothes today. You know what? Let's do that first. And like 4 hours later, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
So
right, right.
yeah, it's
Um,
not the best.
so then the things kind of pop up like I really need to read through this 50 pages because that's going to be something that I'm going to be maybe tested on soon or I might have to, I might be on call for class that day and I need to make sure that I really know the material or it's a precursor to the assignment that's coming up and so I need to make sure I give myself enough time to have kind of sat with the information before I have to start working on it. And then I might say, oh, and I really do need to send this email. In which case, in that moment, I'm not stressed. I'm just saying these are the important things. If I get to the rest of them, great. But if I just get those first most important things done, the rest of my day is so stress free. Like it's so much more
Mm,
relaxed because the
right.
rest of them, I intrinsically understand they should be done at some point. I do need to get them done, but they don't need to come first. And if I don't get them done today, as long as I start in the order of here's the big giant rock that I got to do, and then here are the small ones, and I just kind of go smaller and smaller, the little ones, the ones that don't get done, are the ones that didn't need to get done. So why would I stress?
I like that. And that's, by the way, Jess, you're already practicing an extremely powerful sales and wellness technique. This is something that my last job taught me. My last company was
Mhm.
a bunch of real estate people. It was like every day. That was a question that our CEO asked us. Like, what is the? And he said some number. In this case, you were talking about like
Mhm.
three to four. What is are the 3 to 4 most important things you can do today? How do you go do them? And
Mhm.
I really like that strategy. That's something that I've been trying to do where, like I was just telling you, there's so many little things that are happening right now and I have to keep up with. But as long
Mhm.
as Time Through and I have goals for ourselves for the year and we have goals for ourselves for the quarter and then the month, right? So
Excellent.
for like what we're doing. And some of my yearly goals are like no credit card debt. That's one of the reasons why I'm not sure if I'm going to go to TwitchCon because
That's fair.
that's going on the card. There's no way it's not. That's just how it is. Second one is omnipresent content. So I'm trying to like be on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm trying to at least post all the things like once a day at the very least, just to try it out. And the second one is oh gosh, what was the third one? I have to look at my list. I can't see my list. I forget my third one. Time There's gonna be like Lauro. The point
You
is,
will remember it.
I will.
It's
I'm
just
gonna. I
it's
literally don't
gonna
have
be
my
there.
glasses on, so I can't see my list. Oh well. But these things are what drive me like every single day, and that's really good to do. I think in terms. I mean, you again, law student and streaming. So you told
Mhm.
yourself, and whether it was consciously or subconsciously, like, hey, I don't need to be going on social media right now because as long as I'm live and as long as
Mhm.
I'm getting my stuff done for school, then the rest of it doesn't really matter. And that's a good way to think about it because I think too often we stress about
Yeah.
the small things. And I know I've been there too
Yeah.
often.
Absolutely. And I would say too, um, it's really helpful to have snacks.
Yes.
I would say that snacks 100% carried me through the year.
Snacks and naps. Okay. Mm,
Yeah.
naps, chat.
Naps for me are dangerous because there's no guarantee I'm gonna wake up
Ooh.
like until 6 hours later. By the time I fall asleep, my body might just be like, yeah, we're gonna sleep now.
I actually took a nap a couple weeks ago in my car. I have no problem saying this in the middle of the workday because
Nice.
I knew that it was like the everyone that's in a desk job knows this, and maybe you do too, Jess, because if you have lunch at like 2 o'clock, after lunch at like 2 o'clock, you get this food
Mm,
coma of just I'm exhausted and my body is shutting down. My eyes are drooping, and especially if I have a meeting coming up at like 4 o'clock, I don't want to be
yeah.
that guy or that person, whatever, in the meeting with the drooping face and just going like in the glazed over eyes. So I walked to my car, put my phone on airplane mode, put my seat down, and turn a very loud, like blaring alarm on, and I put it in the back seat. That way I had to actually like get up and like
Smart.
do it for like 20
The
minutes,
movement.
like nothing else, because I knew, right, exactly, because if I put it in my chest, if I put like my foot on my chest, sure, it might have buzzed and that might have woken me up.
Snoozing.
But I've been snoozed, done. And then be like 3 hours later, hey, where were you? We had the big board meeting. Just be like, oh yeah, I was in my car napping. That's not a good idea. So chance, do I advocate sleeping at work? No. Do I advocate wellness? Damn right. So I was able to take that nap in my car, go back. I like went to the bathroom, splashed some water on my face to get the the bags out, and then go from there, because that's a science, chat. You take a nap for 20 minutes, you don't get, your brain doesn't produce enough of the chemical that puts you into REM sleep, which is what makes you groggy. You don't get any of that stuff. So get a nice little cat nap going. But I'm rather with Jess. I had to train myself in order to do that. So.
I have found that studying or even working with the Pomodoro method really helps mental fatigue that kind of starts catching up by early afternoon.
I know
And
what
there's a
that is.
couple
Do you
ways
want
you
to
can
tell
do.
the people what the
Yeah.
Pomodoro method is? Yeah.
So the Pomodoro method is basically like high intensity workouts, but for regular work or any kind of mental exertion. And everybody has like a different spin on it, but I think the classic is like 15 or 20 minutes of hard work, focused work. Well, I guess not hard, but just really focused and effective. The key to making it work is you really want to be super focused and really working. And then you take a short 2 to 5 minute break where you stop and you let your mind rest. Now you can do something. For me, I find that after about 11 p.m., that tends to be looking at items to put on my Stream Gifts gift list. So I have had some really weird things on there this year.
Sure.
Really weird things. A lot of onesies. A lot of onesies.
A lot of onesies, huh?
And I love them. I love them so
What's
much.
the weirdest
They're
onesie?
so comfortable. I have an angel onesie actually because somebody actually gave it to me.
Well, that's not so weird.
Okay, but it actually has an halo and wings.
All right, that's a little weird.
Okay. It's pretty great. I wore it for finals.
For
I
finals?
wore it for finals. Oh yeah, I have so many onesies now. I have a full collection. I had enough onesies to wear a onesie for every single day of finals that I had an exam. So that was 6 days. So one day I show up and I'm wearing an elephant onesie, complete with the trunk and ears, by the way, off of my head. Another day I showed up and I was wearing a rainbow unicorn onesie, which even has a rainbow mane and tail.
Jess, are you the most popular person at school? Because it sounds
I'm really not. You'd actually be surprised.
Whatever. You're laughing all the way to the bank, okay?
It's true, though.
Jeez.
But if you had asked any of my classmates, okay, so I got to say it this way. I love gaming. So I asked people at the beginning of the first semester, I was like, hey, anybody play any video games? And a bunch of people were like, oh, yeah, I do. And I'm like, oh, what kind of video games do you play?
No is the answer.
Most people were a no, or the answer was like the really, really old school consoles. I'm like, is that even still working?
No.
How have you been taking care of that? And I'm like, I've never played because I didn't have consoles growing up. So I didn't play them. I'm like, yeah, I can't. I've got nothing here. So,
but you're better than them now because you have a PC.
I mean, PC Master Race. It's
you heard it
console peasants, whatever we call that. It's something like that. No. Well, I just I didn't even know what kind of games they were. They were like listing titles, and I'm like, it's like they're speaking a foreign language right now.
Banjo-Kazooie. What is that? Come on.
So the first semester, no one even knew that I game. And it's really funny when I talk with people IRL, because I guess that there are so many stigmas about what people who game look like and act like IRL that I have never had somebody in my entire life look at me and peg me or talk with me and then be like, "Hey, yeah, so do you play video games?" Never happened. It usually goes the other direction where at some point when they find out that I love video games, that the comment comes around and it says something like this: "I would never have expected that you're a gamer, Jess."
Yeah. Something snooty, but
So
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So the
that's
end of the
exactly.
second semester, I actually told one of my classmates who I'm pretty good friends with. I was like, "Yeah, so I like video games." And he was like, "Oh, really cool. What kind?" "I've got a PS4. I've been playing Spider-Man." I was like,
Lit.
I have a PS4. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts now," which is actually what this t-shirt is, I think, as well.
Oh, cute.
Um, yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, and a lot of PC games like Rainbow Six Siege. I play some Apex Legends. I mean, of course, some Fortnite. I roll off a bunch of games." He looks at me, and goes, "Wow, really?" I'm like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I also stream." And he's like, "Wait, what? On like Twitch and stuff?" I'm like,
Oh
"Yeah."
yeah.
And literally, this was the response after kind of sitting with that for a second. "I had no idea you were cool like that, Jess."
That's the best. I just had thoughts, Jess. You want to get like, you want to pump those Twitch numbers up. You just take your Twitch business card and go to the nerd fraternity or the nerd group, whatever. I don't know how college works anymore. And Jess, you can be their queen in like a day, I'm sure. Okay, so
Well, so the one thing is like I don't really share IRL that I stream. Like my family knows it
same, yeah,
first, but I don't really tell people. And part of that is, I like to keep my private life separate.
mm,
And that's something that we talk about a lot on stream is like respecting that, because I know that sometimes when we go and we watch somebody's, channel and we enjoy their content and we want to be really close with them. And sometimes that starts to blur a line where it can easily start to cross into putting ourselves and trying to insert ourselves into someone's personal life. And
yeah,
that's never a healthy situation for anyone. And so I'm always talking about like, hey, I've chosen to draw my line really strongly
good.
and I keep to that.
Maybe don't do
And
what I was
I'm
just saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there are people like that I do trust and I tell them and they know what my channel is, but no
Sure.
one's ever gonna know because I mean I think you know this, Loru, but in my undergrad I was actually stalked by a registered sex offender.
Oh,
Um yeah, so for 3 years of my life and
didn't know
I
that. I'm sorry.
have yeah, it totally sucked.
Yeah,
But if I hadn't gone through that experience and everything that it entailed, I wouldn't be able to be sitting here right now because I wouldn't have started streaming. Like the events that led to me starting streaming would never have happened.
sure.
I wouldn't be in law school because that's really the event that kicked off the
Oh,
train of events that led to me to be interested in law school.
well, Jess, that's
Hi.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, and I wouldn't be working with stream gifts because my interest in privacy really stemmed from what I saw happen, both online during that experience and also in my own social
mm,
networks.
yeah,
Um, and being able to see firsthand what that experience is like, I could never have understood before.
yeah,
And I don't understand other experiences that are different than mine because I just haven't gone through them. But at least I can resonate with the feelings and support people. And that's another part of my life. I don't talk too much about it. But I was actually diagnosed a year and a half, 2 years ago now, with post traumatic stress from it.
I'm sorry, Jess.
And oh, it totally sucks. But
Sure. Okay.
again, 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 like this is I'm not saying this as a negative. This is
Sure.
actually I look at it as it's a tough thing and life can be hard. We deal with things, a whole range of things in life that are difficult and really like sometimes immensely emotionally or really physically difficult, or mentally or socially. Like there's so many different things. And this is just one of the things that I've had to deal with, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the part of it that for me is amazing, and I was just talking with somebody about this, one of my professors, because I'm able to thankfully have a lot of support through some of the things that are more difficult. I just took criminal law, and so there's a lot of cases that focus on really difficult for me things to read.
Yeah.
And so, because of a lot of the resources that universities have now, I was able to tap into those to get extra help to kind of carry me through that class. And it also created an opportunity to talk with some professors. And I had this really interesting experience, Laura, where I was sitting across the desk from a professor, and that professor said, "I'm so sorry you've gone through this." Um, and I realized in that moment, and I never thought I would get there.
Mm.
Um, but I realized that if I could go back and not have that experience, I wouldn't,
Mm.
which is a huge thing to say because, all through the experience, you're like, I just want this to stop. I wish this had never happened. But there have been so many beautiful things that have happened. I've been able to sit with, go with friends to report things that have happened to them, and be there for them through those difficult moments. I've been able to advocate for people in a number of ways, get involved with resources even on campus to help provide feedback and improve things. And I never would have had those opportunities. My community, I say this nowhere near enough. My community is amazing. So amazing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to express it. Um, but one way to point to that is like after my diagnosis, I was looking into different therapies because I'd been going to like talk therapy for a while. And at some point it's like, I'm just so tired by this. My community helped raise the money to send me to a newer, not covered by insurance
Oh, that's lovely.
therapy. hmm It was a lot of money. Like it was $10,000 amount of money.
Shit.
And yeah, yeah. Um, but that and it was a really intensive week-long therapy, like
Oh, I
14,
bet.
16-hour days.
So much
Yeah.
crying.
I actually don't think I cried because
Okay.
the way that this therapy worked, instead of going through the events, you actually go before the events and you release the emotions so
Mm.
that those emotions no longer pop up. So I went from really struggling a lot to and even I was so concerned. I knew that when I went to go apply to law school that I was committing myself to taking criminal law. And I'm gonna tell you what, I was terrified of that.
Mm.
Um, because I wasn't sure if I could do it. I wasn't sure I could do it even throughout the entire course of it.
Right.
But what had happened was it was creating so much anxiety that I had been working on my law school application for like 2 years before I submitted it, Laura.
Wow.
Yeah. I went and, when I went through the therapy that my community funded, 2 days after I had my application submitted,
There you go.
it was so effective and it changed my life. So, like, I can sit here and say, my community, Twitch, streaming has changed my life for the better. And it has put me on a trajectory to help people that I would never have been able to help, and be there for. And when I say help, like, I'm not talking about like fixing someone
No, no.
because I think sometimes we think of that because there are some things that I don't know are fixable, but we can be there. And sometimes that's the most powerful way to help someone is to just be there, to listen. And if we have resources to say, would you like this?
Right.
And then if they say yes, help them have it happen. And I am so beyond fortunate to be able to do what I do, like stream gifts. My being involved in stream gifts is completely a result of this path, and that's doing a lot to help. Like now, I'm staff as of a week before last TwitchCon. I became the partner advisor, so I was the first streamer actually to start using the service and testing it. It's now in closed beta, and now I get to support all of the streamers
That's
who are
great.
using the service. Yeah, and it's such an unusual thing because we don't have wish lists out there that are designed for streaming
No.
communities, and so you get all those horror stories of
Yeah.
people who had somebody find that person's personal info, um, sometimes showing up on their door,
Gosh.
sometimes worse. And people have very little awareness online of what they're putting out there, like very little awareness of how easy it is to find them. We
Yeah.
don't need to be making it easier by using services and stuff that's not designed for our use and then getting upset when something that wasn't designed for our use does something that we think it shouldn't have done.
Looking like a true lawyer, chat.
I'm just saying.
No,
It's
I'm right there with you.
yeah. And so stream gifts though, like it's so awesome to be part of it because I have the opportunity to help give advice to people about how to use stream gifts, how to set things up. I also get to help with recommendations and review for potential partners, and help be part of the process of people becoming partners now, which is so exciting.
Nice.
It really gives me an insight into the interaction between creators and brands and a lot of the do's and don'ts of interacting with brands.
Yeah. I'm sure I
Um,
might have seen the Ann
yeah.
Munition, one of the biggest Siege players. She's damn good at the game. She put out a tweet that was "oof" was the only text, and the picture was an email that she had received, right? Had been sent, had gotten,
Mhm.
and she blurred out the email address, obviously, but it said,
Mm.
"Hi, bracket name, bracket, comma. We're really excited to showcase our product to you." Clearly, some kind of automated email that somebody messed up the macro with, right?
Whoops.
And I was like, "Yeah, oof is right." So
Yep,
that's a
that's unfortunate.
bit of a don't there, chat. Okay, as
Nope.
somebody in
Yep. Huge
marketing,
don't.
they lost a client. It's bigger than you think because chat that
Oh, really?
I do email campaigns. You will lose a client
Oh,
if
yeah.
that one field is wrong. It doesn't matter. Your product can be the
True.
best thing since sliced bread and since jam on sliced bread, but it's still, if you don't do the name, then that is a big oof, as Forbidden Love says. Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Jess, before we go further,
Yes.
oh, holy hell, I did not know this about you, Jess. That is a big deal. And I like how you described all that because you took this horrible thing that happened to you, and over the course of however long, you don't have to say stuff, whatever, and you're literally taking. I like to think of the bad things that happened to me as a crucible, and that I've come
Mm.
out the other side. Jess, you went through crucible. You came out the other side, and you're using the stuff you learned and the stuff that you went through to help others. That's amazing. And ultimately, you started Twitch because of all this, and then your community, like this. I always talk about this. The streamer and the community is like a cyclical thing. We help each other.
I
Like
hope
these
so.
people. I mean, if you have the right
I
community,
like to think I do.
well, you definitely do, Jess, because you're there laughing and spreading. I know we joke about positivity that it's too common now, but I think that's a good thing that it's common. I do think shouldn't be
Yeah.
something that's it's not something you can differentiate yourself with anymore, which I think is a good thing because that means we're all
Absolutely.
focused on trying to be positive and all focused on trying to help people out. And when people come to your stream, which is a good thing to talk about this chat, Jess, when I saw that Rainbow Six had a rainbow is magic mode with pink and flowers and Mr. Bear, I immediately, without even thinking, I was like, "Hey, JoinJess, did you see this?" Because that's right up your alley. So
I am so glad so it was you and Andoa and a couple other people actually reached out and they were like, Jess, did you see this?
it's
And
like they
I think
consulted you,
yeah.
and made a mode.
There's
So
like a wave of people reaching out. I'm like, oh, there must be something really good. And I did not look it up, actually. I just was like, we're playing Siege on my next
oh, that's
stream.
great. Oh, wow. And
So
then
if
you
you go
saw it.
back,
Oh my gosh,
uh-huh.
that's amazing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you go back to the VOD, that was literally my first look. But I knew we were going to be playing Siege because if my friends were telling me that I needed to be looking at this, I knew I needed to be playing it.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's just amazing. So, and I'm really, really, well, first of all, thank you for telling that story. That must have been, it's not something that you have to talk about, but you chose to reveal it. And that shows, I think, how much you've grown as a person since then, because
Oh, yeah.
anybody can have something bad happen to them and then have it be the thing that defines them and pulls them down and statement, right? So like they don't do something or they don't move forward, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
it's harder, in fact, but has the better payoff in every way to have something bad happen to you and forgive the person or whatever it is you have to do, go to therapy and then move past it, and also take your experiences and be able to use them forward to be able to better not just yourself but other people. So kudos to you. That's a big deal, Jess. So good job. That's all I can really say about it. So
Thank you.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
I wouldn't wish an experience like that on anyone. However, realistically, we live in a world where it's far too common. Um, And if we have an attitude collectively of, we can talk about it and we can be there, and we might not be able to fix something from like stop something from happening, or we might not be able to make it better. But if our attitude is, I can be there and I can ask, what is it that you want? What can I do to help?
Or just
Okay,
listen,
how can we
you know?
make that happen? Yeah, and
Yeah.
listen, like those are some of the most um wonderful things. Like I remember it was probably I actually had a conversation with a what exactly was his job? He was actually a counselor for survivors of assault for
Yeah.
most of his professional career, before he became an advisor for the DOJ, for offenders on how
Wow.
do we rehabilitate. This man is just incredible in his career because of his commitment to help, and to help everyone. And that's something that takes a lot, I think, from a person, is to recognize that so many of us are hurting, and when someone hurts somebody else, it's often because they're hurting and that
Yeah.
pain hasn't been healed. And so how can we create a world that's so full of healing that we can out heal the hurt? Now, I think we're a far way away from it, but the more
Right.
we have people working on that, I think the better that will be. Um, and it wasn't until I had a conversation with him and I told him about what I had experienced, and this was probably a good 2 years after, that he looked at me and he said, "How are you doing? What do you want now?
Hmm.
What is it that you want in your life now?" And I had not had somebody ask me, "Jess, what do you want?"
Yeah. It's a
And that
profound
right there
question.
is it is. And at any moment, not just in those kind of situations. Like this is a question I think that we should be asking ourselves every day.
I
What
agree.
do I want out of today?
Yeah.
What do I want to create today? What kind of life do I want to live today? And if something changes and we're saying, well, I thought I wanted this a year from now, but now I actually think I want this instead, that's okay. Life is constantly growing and being created. So why can't we? You know what I mean? But there is something so powerful, in owning that part of ourselves and that power that we have to create our lives. And one of the things that happens in those situations is that, in situations that are really about control, it's about taking someone else's power away more than it is about anything that we tend to say, oh, it's about attraction.
Yeah.
No, we've pretty much research proven it's not. Um, it's about control. And when
Sadly.
somebody has been controlled, right,
Yeah.
what can we do to help restore, recognize that they are powerful, reaffirm their power and capability to them, and ask them for what they would like to choose and then honor it.
Yeah.
And that moment, like I probably sobbed one of the strongest cries I've ever had in my whole life after being asked that. But it was one of the most beautiful times that I've cried because it was tears of not just relief, but like my heart was melting
Yeah.
when it had been becoming so like hardened to other people, if that makes sense,
That
and
makes
I was
perfect
so
sense.
glad to have that. Yeah. Like, can you imagine having the impact on somebody that that man had on my life,
Yeah.
where I had been going one trajectory, and just by asking a single question, it changed,
Change
like,
the
my
whole
whole
thing.
worldview.
That's
It was amazing.
and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there with kindness is the biggest thing is that he actually cared enough. Anybody can ask you,
Mm.
so what do you want? And that's that inflection, the way I said it, we all understand if you're watching it live, on twitch.tv/Lormirth. Okay. We're all seeing my face when I said that was not a actual caring face. Right. But if I'm like, hey, what do you want, with your life? That's obviously I care enough to ask this question. Obviously, it sounds like I'm going to listen to you, right? It's about the intent of it. And it sounds like this guy had a really profound impact on your life. And now, when
Yeah.
you become the most professional bird lawyer possible, you're going to you're going to help those pigeons and those seagulls. Okay. So, and from
Yes.
their traumatic experiences. Sure. Yes,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. I think
You
you
know,
go ahead, sir.
yes. I was just gonna say I'm excited to continue through law school and for my future as whatever lawyer I end up being,
Hmm.
um, because I'm essentially amassing a wealth of experience. Not all of it good, but that I can create good using, and knowledge and skills that I will be able to turn to whatever it is that I do and focus on helping other people create the world and the life that they want and live wonderful lives, um, and create what I want to see in the world. And what that is I want to see a bunch of powerful people who are creating goodness, who are working together and who are spreading love and happiness and connection. And I think that that is something that is so possible and doable, and it only takes a couple of people who want to play at that level, you know?
Yep. Chat. I don't know how we keep finding these great people, but the on a couple weeks ago, we had Anxiety on, and she said something similar about having to like help the world, right? And I said the same thing to her that I'm going to say to you, Jess. One of my favorite people in the world is Jordan Peterson, and he talks about how
Mm,
I love him so much. I still have to read his book. I have it. It's like in my queue the whole thing. He talks about
nice.
how you're like one of the best ways for you to uh, better the world is to first of all accept responsibility, for like whatever it is that is, whether you do a good job at your
Mhm.
job, whether you kick ass at school, whether you're like going to be in law school and killing the game there, whatever it is. First, accept responsibility, and second, take your little bubble of life, and be good. Do something nice. Tip the scale 1 degree towards goodness instead of evil or badness, right? Like instead of like for me, what that looks like is when I'm on the road, if someone's being all honk and a road rage, I'm just like, yeah, go ahead. Just I'm not gonna honk back. I'm not gonna be angry back. And then maybe it does nothing. Maybe somebody sees me and is like, hey, that guy was really nice. And then they do something nice later that day, like the pay it forward kind of thing. Tip the scales 1 degree towards goodness, and you'll be very surprised at how many people will be affected by that.
Mm,
That's just 1 degree. That's small things. Jess, you're talking about going to law school and getting degrees to be able to help people in real legal battles, bird or man. The whole thing is that you're going to be able to help these people. Okay. Jokes aside,
absolutely.
that's great. Just from, I don't remember the last time that we talked. I think you were getting ready to go to law school. I think it was
Mhm.
like before then. So to talk to you now, that you seem to have a much more, and stop me if this is wrong, defined path, and that's great. At least you
Yeah.
you can see the path now, at least more than you could before. So good on you. And when I get in trouble with the law, I'll call you. Okay.
I hope you never have to.
God, same.
But
So
if you do, I will look forward to hopefully being able to help.
you can
I
recommend a
have
good
to say though,
trademark lawyer, I'm sure. That's what we're dealing
I
with right
actually
now.
might be able to. Go ahead and send me a
Yeah.
message later.
Yeah, definitely.
Um Yeah, I do think I love your example about, kind of just saying go for it and in a way releasing when somebody else is having a bad day, like honking
Only
on
way
the
to stop
freeway
the
or
cycle,
whatever.
I think.
It is, but are you familiar with Ho'oponopono by any chance?
Good. Gesundheit. No, I'm not. What is it?
So there is this great, I forget what the book is called actually. It's a white cover. And I read it a few years back. It was really one of those things that gave me great food for thought. And Ho'oponopono or Ho'oponopono, it's actually a Hawaiian, I guess, healing kind of thing. Now it comes from Hawaii in a time before we have like the way that we look at Western medicine and psychology, which let's face it, anything with the brain, we're still don't understand. And this is far before even our current understanding of quantum theory.
Is
But
it literally
Ho'oponopono
called the Book of Hoponopono?
No, there's a different one. It's more of a story form.
Okay, never mind.
Um, because there are practitioner forms, but then there's also one that tells a story. The last master of Ho'oponopono, there's actually this story about him. Uh, Ho'oponopono is about kind of energy healing, is how we tend to describe it in the Western world.
Sure.
But more, it's saying that all of us are connected. So if we are all connected, then each of us has both a responsibility toward the other person and all people, and also an impact on them. And the practice of Ho'oponopono is how to basically affect that connection to create more healing for somebody and somebody specifically,
Mm,
and maybe even just generally. And so there's a lot more to it, but there's four kind of magic phrases that tend to be the most well known, which are um, "I'm sorry," "Please forgive me," "Thank you," and "I love you."
cute. I thought
Right.
one of those would have involved pizza, personally.
You might. I
Yeah.
mean, pizza is pretty
I'm
healing. I'm
sorry I
just
don't have
saying.
pizza. I love pizza. Would you like some
Thank you for the
pizza?
pizza.
Exactly. Thank you for the pizza. There it is.
Yeah.
So,
Forgive me for not sharing my pizza with you sooner.
exactly.
Right.
We can write our own
Um,
Ho'oponopono. I can't even pronounce it. Book about pizza. Anyway, sorry.
it would be
Continue.
great. Ho'opono pizza or whatever.
Ooh, ooh.
Um, Yeah, so the story though of this practitioner goes that there was uh, I forget what you call a mental hospital that was so filled in Hawaii that they didn't have room for basically anybody else. And one of the things with this hospital was that it had a really low turnover rate, meaning people were going in and never leaving.
Oh.
Um, and they didn't know what to do. Something was going on, and someone who worked there, I think one of the administrators who was Hawaiian, eventually goes to this master Ho'oponopono gentleman and goes, "Can you help us? Can you come to the hospital? Can you help us? These are people who are suffering, and we our efforts are not helping them." You know, this is somebody who, from their heart, wanted people to be able to go and live their lives, and was recognizing that something wasn't working, and turned to something that they believed in, um, and had apparently had some experience with before. And what the Ho'oponopono master said was, "No, I won't go to the hospital, but I will help you heal
Ooh.
the patients." And so the Ho'oponopono master asked for a file for each of the people. I think they wanted a photo and the name of every single patient. And every day for a year, he would sit down and he would meditate using Ho'oponopono for every single one of those patients. And he did use all four of those phrases, you know? Because part of it is in Ho'oponopono, it's saying that all of the hurt and all of the bad that is going on around us is actually a reflection of what's inside.
Mm.
So to have an effect on someone else, you have to heal what's broken in yourself. And so he spent that year meditating to heal what was broken within himself and to help the people who were therefore in that thinking a reflection of him.
Mm.
And
Right.
so it was all internal. He never had any contact with them. But the interesting thing is, 1 year later, every single one of those patients that he had been given a file for had been released from the hospital.
There you go.
So I don't know how that works, but I know there is some really interesting quantum theory
Sure.
there. It was
What is
pretty well
what is the
documented too.
soul chant? You know, forgiveness is a hell of a thing, right? It's so funny that I was watching a video. So while I'm at work, I don't know what you do to like focus, Jess, but if I like to get into a mode, and this does tie in. I promise. I will listen to music, but if music doesn't do it for me, I'll literally turn on like ASMR videos just to like
Nice.
help me to focus. And it was just going through some like playlist of just random whatever was on YouTube ASMR videos, and it was this video, and it's so funny that you mentioned that, of this old dude who wrote this book about stillness and meditation and like what a soul is and how to like affect people spiritually and
hmm
quiet, you know, like what all this different stuff. And I was listening to this guy talk, and I'm like, Wow, this is super tight. So it's really funny to me that you mentioned this now. It's almost like we are connected. All this different stuff.
I mean, with quantum theory, like, have you ever had the experience where you just suddenly had a feeling like you needed to call someone, and then right in that moment when they start calling or texting you?
Oh, totally. That's like we would call it our like best friend superpowers. All my best friends
Hmm.
and I, like when my best friend's wife was pregnant, when they found out, like when they have like the strip in their hands, I call them up. Just I was like, I gotta call my friend like right after for some reason, and they're like, hey, we gotta call you back. I was like, sure, and I was like, I hope everything's okay. And then later they're like, how the hell did you know? Like we hadn't told, we just found out. I was like, no, what? They're like, you don't even know. I was like, what's going on? Just tell me. The suspense is killing me. They were pregnant,
Wow,
so it was one of those things where I
that's
was like, wow,
amazing.
hello, yes, I am the.
Wow.
When can I be Godfather Loru? Okay, so.
That's amazing. Well, and it's
Oh,
interesting that you say that too. It's there was a really interesting study. I want to say it was 3 or 4 years back that was
mm,
done on this kind of phenomenon, and it was all about human connection. Can we measure that kind of connection yet?
mm,
And in this, what they found was that if you take two people who are like good friends, by our best standards of identifying it, they have a connection. Now, can we generally measure that connection?
mm.
No, but we know that there is one there, right? Because they have created one. Well, they took people who were good friends or siblings, I think too, as well, and they took them and they put them in totally different countries. I think there was one that was opposite the world, and then they monitored them and they had them think of each other. And what they found by this monitoring was that in that moment when they were thinking about each other, the brain waves and their
Let's
heart
link up.
rates perfectly matched.
That's cool. I
Isn't
like
that
that actually.
interesting?
That's super tight. Yeah, that's y'all know that I'm a Christian. Y'all know that I think souls exist and all that kind of goodness. But that is interesting that they quantified it by
Hmm.
measurements that we can see. That's cool. I like that.
We are
Yeah.
entering into an amazing time in our world's history
Yeah.
because we are able to do things we've never been able to do, and that ability is increasing exponentially. So who knows what we're going to understand and what we'll be able to measure and what we'll be able to prove 10 years from now. I
Right.
mean, if you were to take somebody even from like 600 years ago, what we have now would be considered straight up magic.
I mean, I have little bulbs that produce light. I have 3 screens that let me basically see infinity, in terms of the amount
Hmm.
of things that I can do. So, Jess, you're in the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. We are simultaneously talking to each other, right?
Hmm.
And speaking of congruity, light blue, Chan. Are you wearing light blue today? Okay,
Yeah.
because apparently that's what you have to be doing.
Well, and it's interesting. I had been wearing a lavender shirt this morning, and then I started thinking about our podcast actually, and I was thinking about, oh yeah, okay, I need to make sure I'm ready to go at this time. And just suddenly I was like, I am not feeling this lavender shirt. I've been wearing
Mm,
it for 2 hours, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me, but I am just feeling all kinds of like out of kilter.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I walked over to my clothing and immediately saw this, and I was like, that is the shirt I need to wear.
That's the
That is
one.
the one that I'm feeling.
That's fun.
So it's really interesting. And I'm
Okay.
wearing these glasses that are also blue. I'm actually testing them. They're a new kind of blue lens light filtering glasses.
Do you need
So I
glasses to like see, like far away or close?
yeah, far away.
Same.
I am very, very without them, about here is blurry.
Ah, really? I
Yeah.
I need them for driving. Like I see text on my posters over there. I can't read the text. I know there's text, but I
Yep.
can't read the text. So
See,
I need it for driving, but I can like
I'm
kind of
impressed that you have that good of eyesight because I might not know there's even there.
sure, just a blur. It's like, is that a wall? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't ever wear them. People were when I went to my first PAX East. My stream has always seen this face with no glasses because I
Yeah.
don't need glasses to read the screens in front of me. And then
Okay.
I was posting Snapchats of like, here we are going to the convention center. They're like, Laura, you wear glasses? I was like, yeah. Don't you know about my life? Come on. So, hell
Oh,
with it.
yeah. Well, and I didn't wear glasses. I actually so funny story about glasses and people not knowing that you wear them. I don't think I wore any glasses the year of my stream.
Really?
Um, I had pretty much only been wearing them for very intense study sessions. I
Sure.
switched to contacts when I was like 15
Mm.
because I had this pair of glasses that no, you know what? It's when I started wearing a little bit of mascara. I have really long eyelashes. Like they're so long that when I'm wearing mascara, some people think that they're fake, but they're
Mm.
actually my eyelashes. But the problem is they were so long that when I started wearing the mascara, I couldn't blink because
Oh,
my eyelashes would get stuck on my glasses. So now I have to wear only ones that like stick further away from my
that's
face.
so funny.
I'm gonna see if you can see this because I'm
Hashtag
serious.
girl
Like I'm
problems.
not even wearing super long. Like I'm not wearing long.
Enhance.
Right. If you
Zoom in,
can
chat. Zoom
see,
in.
when I was a baby, my mom talks about like with my face, like I had my
They're long.
eyelashes
Yeah,
would go
sure.
down. Right. They used to like rest on my
Are
cheek
mine
and
long, chat? Now I'm so
yeah.
conscious about my own eyelashes.
No.
Like, chat, are mine
They're
long?
great.
We're gonna zoom in now. So they're great. You're fine. You smart. You important.
Trust me, long is not necessarily good.
There it is,
I
chat.
couldn't
There it is.
blink. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's. I actually have never worn contacts. I can't. When I was in small story, when I was younger, we would go to the beach every summer with my family,
Mhm.
and I would get pink eye every year because I'm just rubbing my eyes in the water, and I would get the gunk from the ocean into my eyes,
Mhm.
and I would get pink eye like every year, and it was so bad. On the final year I got it, I was like 16. I had to go to the hospital because the whites of my eyes were blood red, right? So, and if you can picture
Oh.
this, Jess, we're sitting in the hospital. And I'm looking down, and if I blink, my eyes hurt, right? So I'm just like
Oh,
staring at the
yeah.
floor
Mm.
and just like trying. Every heartbeat hurts my eyes because it's like they're bloodshot and they're swollen. So we're not in urgent care because it wasn't like I broke a bone or like I'm bleeding. Like I was breathing, so I was okay. And so some kid had come in with some kid and his mom came in. I could barely tell that they were there because I was in a lot of pain actually. I couldn't think.
Yeah.
And the mom goes, "So what happened to your kid?" And I just look up with my with my demon red eyes, and she goes, "Oh God!" And she takes her kid and like moves to the other section because
Oh
there's
no.
something possessing that there boy. So it was not good.
Oh no.
But then we went to the doctors and
Oh
they took
no.
a steroid strip or something. They put it into
Huh.
my eye, and it was like immediately I felt my eyes like stop hurting. Like they said they watched my eyes get like less swollen. And I haven't had pink eye since. Praise the Lord. I hate it so much. But the thought of putting something in my eye, it like gives me PTSD, right? And I literally can't
Mm.
like when I was going to here's my dog's barking. When I went to the doctor to try to get eye contacts,
Mhm.
contacts, chat. Where else are you gonna get contacts? Anyway, the point is, I went to go put it towards my eye, and I couldn't do it. My eye kept closing, like out of fear, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the guy, he like goes, "Ryan, is everything okay?" That's my name is Ryan. Spoilers, whatever. He goes, is everything okay?" And I was like, "Have you washed your hands?" And he's like, "Yes." What is the deal? So I was like, "I don't want contacts. I just want glasses." And now I've always had glasses. So
Wow,
can't do
that's
it.
a great story. I mean,
Yeah.
like a really series of events that led you there, but
Yes.
what a story.
I traumatized a family.
Dang.
Is what happened. We went to the hospital, and there was this boy with blood red eyes. So that's what happened when I was like 16. Oh my gosh, Jess.
Wow.
Again, we haven't had a podcast in recent memory that I looked at the clock and I was like, "Okay, it's probably been like a half an hour." No, we've come upon more than an hour. Okay. This has been a fantastic talk, Jess. I had a
Yes.
great time talking to you again. You got some good stuff going on. You're killing the game as always. Okay, you're having granola bars and sugary cereal and breathing exercises. Okay, you're gonna
Yep.
help those birds and those humans. And
Absolutely.
light blue is the color of the day. So that's basically how to sum up this podcast, chat. So Jess, as always, I'm going to give you the last word in this thing. It's been great talking to you. If you want to talk about your stream, if you want to talk about stream gifts, you can type up whatever you want. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess in terms of my stream, I'm just kind of streaming on. I actually don't know what my summer schedule is yet because I Monday.
Sure.
But I'm currently doing a playthrough of Subnautica and a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts from the very beginning. We did the math, and at the rate that I'm going, it's going to take me 4 years to get to the end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's about right.
This is entirely because of how I play the game, though. So just to put this in perspective, when you first start playing the very first Kingdom Hearts game, there is a foot race right at the beginning, and they even give you a reason to want to do this foot race and win it, by the way. So you're up against this friend of yours who is kind of a jerk, you kind of feel like, but you're kind of like, okay, maybe this is just the dynamic. I don't know. But the more the story goes on, the more you're like, I'm not feeling this friendship. Something seems to be off here. And then your like heart gets broken, and it's fine. It's fine.
I've not yet recovered, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. It's you just realize that I realized that I may have misjudged this kid from the beginning, but it totally stems from the fact that what was a 5-minute foot race, they tell you if you win, you get to name the ship. And I desperately wanted to name this ship. When it said that I was going to get to name it, I was like, we're going to call it the Friendship. We're going to dedicate it to Twist Plus friends and all of our friends.
Awesome, cute.
It's the perfect thing to do. Lauru, I lost that foot race. So I tried again because it gives you a retry. And I lost that foot race. So of course I tried again. I think I did this foot race a good 40 times. It was at least an hour. It was maybe 2. I don't think it was more than 3. It was a lot for what was essentially if I had done it twice, it would have been a 5-minute foot race. We won, by the way. We did.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. After like 43 losses.
Oh boy.
We got it. We got it. And then of course there was something that happens and we don't get to name the ship after. And I was heartbroken. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Unplayable.
Right. But this is why it's going to take me, if the projection is correct, for 4 years.
Yeah.
To get through this entire series. And that's only one of the series that I'm working. So if there's anything to be said about the stream, it's that there's at least 4 years of content guaranteed.
Yeah. I can identify with that because we're playing Witcher 3.
Oh, nice. How are you liking that?
It's fantastic. We've been skipping all the sexy scenes because that's not something I want on my brand. But it's very it's a long game, and at the rate I'm going, I, as you have said, will not finish this game for God knows how long. It's like I don't know. It's so much. We're on the first non-tutorial area. I'm level 20, I think. And there's like 3 more areas and DLC. I don't know. So it's going to be helpful.
You've got a long stretch to go.
Got a long stretch to go, definitely. So
reminds me of the 10 hours I played Dota 2 tutorials. Still never got past them.
Yeah, Dota 2, that is a game. We actually just got, we talked to Dandro last week, and he was telling us, and I can tell you after playing MOBAs myself, MOBAs are not the games you play casually. You can't.
Ooh.
You can't. There's just too much. Even if he was talking about how you play for a couple 100 hours, and now you've gotten an initial grasp to be able to at least hold your own against the noobs. You know, this is not a pick up and go kind of game. That's why I like Siege, because I can pick up and go and have great matches, and then I have crappy matches. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It all evens out in the end.
It all evens out.
To just good matches.
It all evens out. Well, everybody, join Jess. You follow her at twitch.tv/joinjess. Do you have a preferred social media platform besides Twitch? I know we just talked about that at the very beginning.
It would be Instagram. I mean, you can find me on Twitter, but I tend to post quotes that inspire me, pictures that I connect with, the occasional selfie, but I try to limit it to 1 every 5 posts. But other than that, I would say that the best thing, if you don't follow me, is make sure to, if you're a streamer, sign up for your account at Stream Gifts. Or if you have a favorite streamer, tell them about Stream Gifts. Because I see so many people who are using Amazon wish lists, or which, by the way, they're not designed for streaming communities. And it is a risk and a danger that if you are assuming and you are one of the unfortunate people that has an issue with their privacy, that's something you cannot take back. Like when your address is out there, it's like move-in time, or deal with it time. And sometimes the dealing with it is not an option. And what Stream Gifts is, it's a gift list that keeps your info totally private and siphoned off or cordoned off so that the gifter cannot access it at all. And for givers, your info is totally safe. Like when you donate to somebody on PayPal, it gives the name on your PayPal account and your email address.
Yep.
Right, which a lot of people just don't have that set up the way that maybe they would want to maintain their presence online the way that they would like to be. So it's really important for all of us to be informed and to be informed. And if you have any questions about those issues, you can tweet me at Let's join Jess. Like it's an invitation to Let's Join Jess, which is me. Yeah, yeah. And you can always reach out with questions because I am really committed to helping content creators be more aware of what info they have that's out there and what that could mean for them if somebody who maybe had bad intentions were to find it, how to better protect their privacy, and what services are available that actually support them in those endeavors.
Well, there you go, Chad. Jess, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you,
I'll let you know.
I am so glad we made this happen.
Yeah. We got to do more of this when possible. I know. We'll figure it out. At the very least, I'll be pinging you if I'm going to TwitchCon. I'll let you know 100%.
Please.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't promise anything. But yeah. So, chat once again. JoinJess. Twitch.tv/JoinJess. I'm gonna fade you out, and I'll ping you later. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Laura. Have an amazing rest of your day.
You too. I will talk to you. This has been another episode of the Sanctum Sessions podcast. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to follow or subscribe on all the big platforms. We're on all of them. This podcast is supported by our Patreon. Head over to patreon.loru.tv for exclusive podcast rewards. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time.